Hello and welcome guys to the stream. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm just going to make sure I've closed everything in the background that I can, just to make sure that I'm boosting my broadband as much as possible. I did that and my ping just jumped up. How ironic. Okay, I think we should be fine now. I've had a few issues with this server and my ping. Now I did it without streaming and I was having issues, and then I did it with streaming. Sorry, I did it without streaming and I still had issues. The same issues I had when I streamed yesterday, so we're just going to drive, and if it says laps discontinuity, it's just going to ignore it and see if they count anyway. And all I'll do is tomorrow I'll see if the laps counted, and if they don't, then I won't stream the rest of qualifiers and I'll just record it for you guys. But if they do count, then I'll keep the streams running. So let's jump out. Let's see how we get on. Now, I was driving with someone else in the server, and we tried using slipstream because the top two on the leaderboard were giving each other slipstream for the full 5 lap stint. So I wanted to see how much of an advantage it gives you. It's it's about 4/10 a lap, I think. It's 2/10 just for the first 2 straights. So if you can stay behind someone that's faster than you in the corners, but it gives you slipstream on the straight, it's easily 4/10 a lap. And over a 5 lap stint, that's about 2 seconds gain, which is fairly substantial when you think about it. So I'm going to improve my laps, get some coaching, and then maybe tomorrow I will do a setup session with an engineer, or Sunday, and I'm also going to do some driving with one of the other drivers in this event, and we'll both give each other slipstream because it seems to be what the top guys are doing. And like I say, it is about 4/10 a lap, which is quite substantial when you think about it, considering it's a 5 lap stint. Thing that you do have to watch with this is the track temp. The real life record for like the hottest ever temperatures recorded at Silverstone, track temp, is about at least 10 degrees lower than what it is in this server, which is just incredibly unrealistic temperatures. Like, it would never be almost 50 degrees track temp at Silverstone. Just impossible. Now, I watched the hot lap, but I also watched the quickest guys, and I noticed the quickest guys use lower gears in the server than the hot lap does. and I wonder if that's just because of the higher temps, the tyres are a bit more sticky and you want better acceleration out of the corners. But I've just been trying to drive with how the quickest guy drives that I've seen in the server. Because the hot lap is great, but the hot lap is less than half the track temperature of what we are driving in. So obviously the grip level is very different. So you just can't drive the car the same. I got my best lap down to 204 flat. The goal is low 203s, and we still have quite a bit of time to go, so that's good. Track limits are a bit weird at this track, because some of the curbs you can take a ridiculous amount and not get a track limit, and other ones it's super sensitive. So that took a bit of getting used to. Oh, that was a bit of a nuisance, that oversteer there. I think I just shifted down a little bit too quick. No. Invalid. Gotta restart a run. That is a bit annoying. So now my ping is 158 and I've had nothing about lap times being invalidated for ping. I do not understand this. Like, my ping is shocking. How can it go from 66 to 225? I don't get it right. I'm going to try. I'm going to try just applying an extra clip to the front wing. I'm going to see if it slows it down on this straight. Because I watched one of the top guys and they were just throwing it into the corner at the high speeds. This doesn't work. I might try a click of rear wing instead. And because it's a 5 lap stint, if I invalidate any of the laps, I've got to start again. Okay, the bounce has changed quite a bit. Not sure if it's for the better or for the worse yet. Feels better on the outlap already. What I might try is swapping it for the rear wing, increasing the rear wing and reducing the front wing back to what it was. Just to see, because that didn't seem to lose any pace on the straight. So I would like, and it was definitely cooking the corner. Oh yeah, that's so much better. So I'd like to see if instead of the front wing we try the rear wing and see what difference that makes. But let's do a run with this. Wow. That was quite a gain in just one corner. That was like a tenth. think I changed down a bit too fast there. Now, that did feel a little bit better to drive, but what I want to try is now let's try the rear wing up one and leave the front wing where it is. Maybe let's lower the front spring rate. That's going to cause some problems. What we'll do is we'll do the test the rear wing first, and then I will test the lower spring rate at the front. Just watching some of the videos of the other guys, you can push the car so much in the corners that I just can't do. They're just throwing it in the corner where I would not be able to do it without spinning. So let's try a click up of rear wing, see how this works, and then we'll try a lower front spring. Okay, so more understeer with a higher rear wing on that fast right-hander. About through maggots and Beckett's. Look at the grip I have there. 10th and a half up, and that was on the outlap. Let's see how we got on this run. Yeah, I had to lift there. I think we're going to have understeer on the high speed corners. I think we're going to need to lower the front spring. The higher downforce is definitely better for the medium speed corners though. Even there, maybe it will get on the power much earlier. I'm a 10th and a half up in that sector too, almost 2 tenths, but I lost like 2 tenths in the first sector because of the understeer now generated by the higher rear wing. So we just need to soften the front a bit. But overall, the lap, I'm already up on the delta with losing 2 tenths in sector 1. So this is definitely a step in the right direction. Just need to soften the front slightly. Oh dear. Yes. Okay, so I don't think we need to test that rear wing more. That definitely works. Because I was so much up on the delta. So what I'm going to do is save as. I'm going to do this as silver, that one V1. So now let's try a lower front spring. Because that rotation on the medium speed corners, how I can get on the throttle, that is insane. I just need the rotation on the high speed corners. Because if I can get the rotation on the high speed corners and keep that medium speed corner rotation, I think we'll gain half a second easily. Just on our first lap we were there on for a 203.8. I mean, we gained a tenth and a half in the final sector and a tenth and a half in the second sector. So let's see what we can do. It's a little bit understeery. Could be the cold tires though, so we'll keep going with this run. And then adjust it at the end of the run once we have some data. You can brake so much harder without locking up with that higher rear aero, it's insane. Now the problem is we're now getting the oversteer on the medium speed corners that the rear wing fixed, because we now have a softer front. And we're still getting understeer. High speed corners. Let's try, just out of curiosity. Let's try something different. Let's try a softer anti-roll bar on the front. Cannot get my words out today. And let's try that, because that felt really, really, really good. But the understeer on the high speed corners wasn't very good at all. But just with the higher rear wing and leaving the rest of the setup how it was really nice. So I need to try keeping the rotation on the high speed corners, but also getting the stability from the rear wing on the medium speed corners. So lower front roll bar might be a good compromise. Okay, this feels like it's working nicely. Too much speed into there. So now I'm losing the 10th and a half that I was gaining there. No, this isn't working. That higher rear wing worked. But now I'm just getting the oversteer. So I'm going to try just increasing the front wing as well. And just see what we can do with a higher front wing. Because if that's working with just a higher rear wing, and it's also working with a higher front wing at different parts of the track, let's see what we can do if we just increase them both. So we'll have some oversteer from the higher front wing, but also understeer from the higher rear wing. Let's just see how it goes. This would probably work really well with slipstream actually, because we'll have the extra downforce in the corners, but then the slipstream will boost our straight line speed. Still a lot of understeer on that right hander. Maggots and Beckett's are nice though. Delta's even on the straight. So it doesn't look like it's cost me in the straights. I just need to figure it out if that the advantage it gives me in some corners is worth what I lose in others. Because there's some corners I'm losing time, but there's a lot of corners I'm gaining quite a bit, so just need to do some runs and see. What? How am I spinning with higher downforce? That's annoying. So we know that's quicker. But what I need is more rotation in the high speed corners. What does this do? Let's try just lowering the front right height. There needs to be a little bit of oversteer in the slow speed corners and high speed corners, and then stability in the main speed corners. It's a difficult balance to find. But the gain from having that rear wing up one click is insane. I just need to figure out how to stop it understeering in some of the slow speed corners. Sorry, the high speed corners. See if this lower front right height is the way to do it. Hi mate, how's it going? Thanks for tuning into the stream. Hope you're doing well. As you can see, we are doing some testing for the FIA Motorsport games. Just trying to figure out the setup. It's pretty good. Good to hear, good to hear. You been up to much? Okay, so that's some less understeer. Oh, you passed your driving theory test. Awesome. Do you have your practical test booked as well? That's awesome though, mate, that you passed. Well done. Enjoy your weekend to celebrate. Still the understeer there. Let's cool down the tyres before we start the next one, because I invalidated that lap. Slow it down a bit. Let's let the tyres cool down. I've also done a few new things. Oh, nice. Winsport. I heard someone, one of my teammates was trying Winsport, and he said that after the new update, it's really good. Booking practical is a pain. Yeah, I had to do mine in like a big city, because it was only 3-month wait to book there. Whereas if I wanted to get one at my like local town, it would have been 8 months for a practical test. So yeah, booking the practicals is a pain. But do have a look a bit like outside your area if you don't want to wait so long. And this is Silverstone as well, by the way. Just trying to mess around with the setup at the moment and see if I can improve it. Yeah, Rensport is good. It looks like it's been improved quite a bit. Nah, waiting isn't a problem because I'm going to site count stations, so there's no harm in booking one late. Oh, that's good then. Have you had many driving lessons already? Or did you get your theory test done first? A close Formula 4 car. Very close. $20, that's good. Pretty sure the average is something like 40, so you're already like halfway there. Well, so you get a good instructor, he'll take you on all the test routes like mine did. We basically, for the last like 2 weeks of driving lessons, he just took me to all the routes that they do for your driving test. So you're already familiar with some of the routes that you can get given, which is really good. Oh wow, if you're exam ready after 20 hours, that's fantastic. Well done you. That's really impressive. Oh, that's great, mate. Well done. Have you got a date that you want to pass your practical by? Or are you just going to see what dates you can book? Oh, that's awesome, mate. Hope it goes well. You need to let me know how you get on. That was really annoying halfway through a stint. Just a snap of oversteer. When I pass my practical test, I can move out and start job hunting. Oh, that's good. Do you think you'll rent a flat or something, or do you already have somewhere in mind? iRacing, basically there's different classes and different disciplines. So like there's Formula, and there's different classes of Formula car, and then every season the tracks change, but it's still the same car. So for example, the Formula 4 championship, every week there's a new track for like 12 weeks, and then there's the 13th week where basically none of your licenses count, and then it resets for a new season and you get new tracks. But there's also like road car series, there's oval series and all that, so there's a bunch of different series and disciplines that you can do, and every season the tracks change. And sometimes they add new classes as well, but not very often. It's usually new cars to those classes. But yeah, it's pretty good. It does cost quite a bit, but it's quite good. This what we're doing just now. This is a event that's organised on iRacing, but it's not iRacing's own event. So I'm just hot lapping a server right now. Moving in with my father. Do you have to move quite far, or are you quite close to where you are already? And are you looking forward to it? So if I had to set up for this track on an old season, they'd still be viable. Yeah, so it would still be viable. The only thing is if they update like the car or tire model, then obviously the setup might not work very well, but overall it should still work. Yeah, racing does cost a lot. My only reason for not buying it. Yeah, I stayed clear of buying iRacing for quite some time. I hate that oversteer there. It's a 30-minute location difference, but to a nicer location. Oh, that's good then. It's not too far and it's a bit of a nicer location, that's good. I mean, the rookie series, like, I think up until you get B-class safety rating, you can pretty much do iRacing with just the subscription cost. But I do agree, I wish they made it a bit cheaper. Or like the subscription covered everything. You know, like you paid a bit more for the subscription, but at the same time, everything is included and you don't have to pay separately for cars and tracks. So it's just a subscription service, like Netflix. This is like Amazon Prime. You pay monthly, but then there's still some movies that you have to pay for extra. Whereas I'd rather it's Netflix, one subscription every month. Yeah, I'll get my own room and be set free from my greedy mother. Oh, that's good. Sounds like house life is maybe not the best, but if you're able to move out soon, then that's fantastic. Hope everything goes well for you, mate. If you ever need to talk or anything, or let me know how your driving test goes, always feel free to drop me a DM on Discord. I think that subscription should cover it all, to be honest. Yeah, or just like some special stuff that you have to pay for, but once you get to a certain thing, you have to pretty much pay for everything. But because you build it up over so many years or months, then it's not expensive like all in one go. People make the mistake of just like buying a bunch of stuff at once, whereas you just focus on like one class, it would be good. Yeah, demo version would be good. You can also wait until there's sales. So like sometimes there's sales where you can get like a full month for like a couple £, just to try it out and try the free content, and then just don't renew the subscription. You can do that to test it, and then it also gives you a chance to try the online racing for a month. There's also some deals where you can get like free subscriptions, or you can get at a reduced price and stuff. So just keep an eye out on sales, especially like the Steam store sometimes has really good sales. Lower class stuff and GT. Yeah, I mean, like I say, what most people do is they just build it up over quite a long time. The mistake is trying to buy everything at once. Just start with the lower class, get your licenses up, and then as you upgrade your license, then buy more content, and just buy it when you need it. But just focus on one thing. So like if you want to focus on GT cars, just focus on the GT series. You buy one GT car and then you buy one track until you own like a full season of tracks. Because like my teammate Luciano, he's bought so much content over the years that he can pretty much do a new series if a new car comes out. He buys the car and he doesn't even have to buy any of the tracks because he just owns so much. So that's what most people do, they just build it up. But at the start it can seem very expensive. So you just have to focus on one series and then kind of just build up your collection as you go along. I also have a ton of setups for this game. I can't use #pain. They're pretty decent too, apparently. Yikes. Another thing I wish iRacing did is like season bundles. Yeah, just like you want to do one class and the full season of it, and you can just buy everything in one bundle. That would be great, to be honest. I mean, you do get discounts when you buy in bulk, but yeah, a bundle just to do a season of a particular class would be great. Right, request new car. That was a really consistent stint. Wow. I'm actually really happy with that. The lap times aren't great, but that was actually a really good stint. The quickest was 2043. That lap was the one I got the oversteer on, which is really annoying because 1, 2, 3, 4. This would have been a great stint because the difference between my quickest and slowest is a tenth and a half. That's my quickest, that's my slowest in those 4 laps. But because of that one where I got that stupid oversteer, that's gonna bump down my average. Yeah, like I say, there is bundles and stuff, but it's just one of those things. It is expensive, but at the same time you do get what you pay for in some aspects. Like the support's really good, the patches are really good. I mean, my team manager John messaged iRacing support about like something in the setup he found that shouldn't work, and iRacing like tried to fix it and everything like really quickly. So you do get what you pay for, I guess, but at the same time it is also a lot of money for, at the end of the day, just being a game is a lot of money. But my teammate who's coaching me with this, I want to send him. Okay, so, well, see, that's what I would say as well, as the alien pace is 201, but it's not actually alien pace in this server, because I looked at the hot lap because I wanted to watch it to improve, and the hot lap, the track temp was 22 degrees. This is 47. And I've told the admins, like, why is it so hot? And they're like, oh, it's just something you guys will have to deal with, right? The record track temp for Silverstone is, let me find it. Someone sent it to me because they also thought the same thing. The record track temp was 39 degrees on track temp, and this is 47. I live in the UK. It's never going to be nearly 50 degrees track temp unless we have like a tornado of fire above the track. Like the record IRL track temp, I've been told, is 13. Did I say 39 degrees or something like that? And this is 47, which is completely unrealistic. And the car and the tires aren't working properly because it's way too hot. Like the alien pace, like you say, a 201, is on 20 degrees track. That's when the car works well, and that's what I was practicing Barcelona in. But this is just ridiculously hot. So that's why I'm trying to adjust the setup, because the setup's made to work at 20 degrees, and the tires are just not performing the same as they would. But yeah, that's just not possible in real life to get that type of track temp. But I saw an 8K driver do a 20. 2.8. That's the fastest I've seen in these track times, which is still 3/10 away from being 2 seconds off the usual pace of a 201, which is pretty insane. To be like, he's a 202.8, that's almost, just round it up to 203, that's 2 seconds off just because of how hot the track is. But they also seem to be using it to their advantage in throwing the cars in. But what I did notice is the two fastest guys were working together, and they basically did this stint with one of them giving the other one slipstream, and me and someone else did it earlier today, and I gained 4/10 over the course of the lap just from slipstream. No, it was even more than 4/10, and it's a 5-lap stint, so 4/10 times 5 laps is almost 2 seconds advantage over the 5-minute stint with slipstream, and a 4/10 gain over the 1 lap. So there's some time to find with the setup and my driving, which is why I'm gonna ask for some coaching over the weekend and for some setup help. And then there's someone else that's racing in this, and we're going to each give each other slipstream, because it's just so much extra time when you get slipstream, and then you can run a higher downforce car but not worry about the straight line speed because you get a slipstream. So I just have to do that. I don't like doing slipstream stuff, but the admins didn't say that it wasn't allowed, because I did ask them and they didn't say it wasn't allowed. They just said obviously there is an advantage gained from that. So let's try this out a bit. I just haven't driven ACC in like a couple months now. But ACC is what I've been playing since I've got a PC, and I've just been doing a lot of iRacing recently. But ACC I do really like. You still have the same problems on ACC, the slipstream advantage, the hot track temps, but it's just the organisers. I don't think they realise just how hot the track temp is. But yeah, you do still get the same things on ACC. I just wonder if it's just not as noticeable. So what I want to try is see if there's any way I can increase what does caster do? How much the steering axis is leaned back or forward? More positive caster equals more oversteer while steering wheel is turned into a corner. More understeer when counter steering in a slide, heavier steering feel. Just trying to think what we could do. It's good to try out some different cars, definitely. Porsche was my personal favourite though, I can't lie. Especially the old one. Favourite car. Just the oversteer on the braking and then the understeer on the exit, I loved it so much. What I want to try is increase the rear by 1 click. not 2. Because I lowered the front. Let's increase the rear and see. I've moved to the Merc. The Merc was what I did the last championship on ACC that I drove in before kind of starting to do more iRacing stuff. It's quite a good cars, but you need a good setup, I would say. If you have the wrong setup with the Merc, it's awful. So yeah, I would make sure you got a good setup because it's crucial with the Merc. Let's try this right height stuff and see if it works. Oh, that's good. So yeah, definitely make sure you got some good setups. The potential's now a 2036. So if we could do that lap, but then with slipstream, say knock off half a second for the slipstream, that's how much you gain. And our best lap being a 2031, that's not bad. I'd be quite happy. I have this person who donates their epic setups. Nice. Yeah, if you've got someone that can give you setups, that's fantastic. Oh wow. What? That was the quickest karma I've had all session. Oh wow, death. Now was that just my throttle application or did the aero let go? Yeah, I went full throttle too early. That was me. That was on me. How's it going, Luca? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning into the stream. And they're an alien themselves, so I know there's a high ceiling once I can learn the feels. Yeah, if you can start with an alien setup and adapt to it, and learn some good habits and how to drive the alien setups from the beginning, it's so much easier than learning on like the super safe and understeery setups, because you learn really bad driving habits and then you have to try and adapt to the quick esports setups. Whereas if you can learn good habits from the start and how to drive these sports setups, it makes it a lot easier. I definitely focus on like trying to get good driving technique, because if you can start with that and start with these sports setups, it makes things a lot easier further down the road when you're already adapted to that type of setup. Yeah, they use TC off a lot. A lot of it's like throttle application and throttle technique, like you can do in the Lambo, you do like a Senna technique. Yeah, also don't worry too much about the ABS, because that can also be your brake pedal settings. You might need to adjust your software and get it set up so that you're trail braking properly, because if you're struggling with low ABS, it's most likely how you're braking or your brake pedal itself, because I know some people really struggle with it if they've got pedals that don't have load cells and things. Oh, if you're already good with TC off, that's really good then, because to be honest, TC off is what a lot of people struggle with, so if you're fine with that, that's really good. Well done, you. Yeah. Yeah, so with the Logitech pedal, they're still really good entry level pedals, but it does make braking with low ABS really difficult, because it's extremely difficult to modulate your braking with pedals that don't have a load cell. My braking got so much better when I got load cell pedals. You can still buy mods and stuff to make the non-load cell pedals better, but it is definitely easier with load cell pedals to trail brake and things. So don't be too hard on yourself if you need to drive with like an extra click of ABS or something. It's probably just the pedals. Yeah, so if you're used to no TC, that's really good. Because like I say, that's what some people really struggle with. So if you're already used to that, that's really good. Yeah, it depends on the track and corner. Because like a lot of the like new hot lap setups and stuff, when they run TC off, it's like for a few corners, and then there's other corners they run TC1. So if you watch the hot lap, you can see where they're actually using TC off and where they're using TC1. Like at Spa, some will use TC1 for turn 1 and then turn it off for Rouge and Radion and then put it back on at the end of the Camel Straight. It just depends on the setup and car. If you got a button on your wheel that you can quickly adjust it, like between TC1 and TC0, it makes it a lot easier to adjust mid-lap, but it's quite a bit to think about. It's fine if you can remember to do it whilst racing, but the worst thing is when you forget to put TC1 back on and you drive TC0 without realising. I've done that many times. Been on like a really good lap, you're so focused on not binning it, and then you go to accelerate, you spin completely by yourself and you're like, what just happened? And then you look down and you realise you didn't put TC back on 1 and it's still on 0. Leo from Saturn drives cars. Good luck. Thank you, mate. The lap times are dropping. We just found another 10th in that sector. So potential 203.5 right now, which is actually really good for the track temp. I have brake bias and TC adjustments on wheel. I just can't be bothered to click on performance. Fair enough. Our first 203 without slipstream. Yeah, exactly. Focus on just the pace you can find, and then like the last 10th or 2 you can be adjusting your TC mid-lap. But if you're still can find pace without adjusting the TC, then like you say, just focus on that for the time being. Oh, Zolder's a good track. Difficult to race on because it's so tight, but like for a hot lap circuit it's great. And that is just a ridiculous amount of understeering. Consistent 29 lows. That's really good. PB of 28.7. That's good. That's good pace, mate. Focus on the consistency, because if you can do 29 consistent, then you can go to a coach or your friend that's faster and just jump in a session, replicate the 29 low, and then they'll be able to help you improve. Whereas you're really inconsistent, and it can be hard to improve because you can't replicate what you just did. So you make like a different mistake. Whereas if you can just do the consistent lap, then it's really easy to coach and improve it. Yeah, I mean, it's good racing on it. It's just difficult to pass because it's so tight. You kind of got to wait on mistakes. But it's a good track. I know I lose my time on the first chicane and third chicane. Unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, I find the first sector is really about commitment and your gearing, and the chicane is just pray that you don't get track limit. You gotta watch the hot lap because it depends on the car and the setup, but watch the hot lap for your setup because like some of them will just fly over a certain part of the curb, and other hot laps it'll be a different part. So yeah. Right, what I want to try... Oh wait, the front wing is already down. What I want to try is increase the front ride height by 1 click and keep the rear that higher. Actually no, let's reduce the rear ride height. So we're going to have basically 2 clicks less aero, and see. We'll just watch a hot lap for that car and you should be able to see what kind of lines they take through the chicane. The first chicane is usually just about what curb you use and when you go on power. Because if you... Basically how Nils explained it was if you hit that first curb whilst you're braking, your car's tilted down. So when you hit that curb, your car's tilted down so it basically bottoms out off the curb and throws the car really high. Whereas if you go on power before you hit that first curb, you lift the front of your car up and then you hit the curb. But if you watch the hot lap, you can see just like when they go on power. And the second chicane is honestly just learn the track limits. You can take way more curb in the second chicane than you think you can. And then it's also about making sure on the second half of the chicane you're far enough over onto the left that you can take the right hander with good speed. Because obviously you've got a straight after that and you don't want to be down on the speed. Let's try this. So what I've basically done is just lowered the aero slightly. I just want to see how that handles. Might not work, but I want to see. Because that's a PB at 203.8. But I want to try it with a little bit less aero and see what it does. I've been driving the Mark like a Porsche through his older and it's been going pretty well. Oh, that's good. Sorry, I dropped my keyboard there and tried to catch it. And it opened the... I don't even know what it opened. It opened like a news thing. How did I open a news thing? Ah, I must have caught it by the Windows key. That's what I did. I caught it by the Windows key and then typed the letter, and that's why the news articles all popped up. Right. Let's try this with just a little bit less aero. And if this works, I'm going to try and give it maybe a little bit of mechanical grip. But that's already a PB. Honestly, I'm not sure what the current alien pace is. I think last time I checked it was a 27, but that could be outdated. Let's just check on the LFM hot lap leaderboard or the AOR leaderboard. I think recently more people have been using the LFM leaderboard than the AOR. Right, let's see if we can match our delta with this slightly lower aero, and then we'll try making some further adjustments. 25.9. That was Luke Whitehead, was it? That's quite an impressive lap. The Mustang does look pretty OP at the moment. I like how they added it without you having to pay for it, like an extra DLC. But yeah, it's pretty OP from just having the Kunos BOP. With custom BOP, I don't know how competitive it is, just depends on the custom BOP, but without it, it does look pretty OP at a lot of tracks. Wow, that's quite a nerf. 7/10 slower with LFM BOP. Yeah, Bentley's pretty decent as well. Zolder, if I remember correctly. It's OP at a few tracks. Did I say the Bentley was OP? I meant to say the Ford Mustang is OP at the moment, sorry. I'm too tired. But yes, the Ford Mustang looks quite OP at the moment. Luke is an alien, that is why. He's a really nice guy, I've talked to him before. He's a really nice guy, but he is an absolute alien. I don't think he goes outside. Yeah, it's quite a big pace gap, isn't it? Most of the leaderboards are a lot closer than that. Yeah, sometimes you see that, like the same driver just testing different cars to see what they can do. On the AOR leaderboard, when you scroll down and just see the top 3 of each track, like some drivers just have the top 3 in 3 different cars. It's insane. It is. Oh, that's annoying. Stupid oversteer on the rear, just on the exit. I don't even know when the license track gets announced. Nils usually makes a really good track guide for it though. definitely recommend watching one of his track guides for whatever the licensed track is. He goes super in depth. It does take a while to watch the full thing, but it's definitely worth it. Oh, I like Barcelona. Barcelona's a good test track. That's what they like test the Portimao and Barcelona, I think it was, that John said they test the F1 cars and the GT cars on. It's a good track to drive, Barcelona. But it can be a bit of a pain to hot lap. Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Go setups, I'm sure had a. No wait, wasn't it Coach Dave that had a partnership with LFM? Because there was the Coach Dave series, unless they've swapped to Go setups now. I don't know. Let's go setups now. Must have just changed partners. Or Go setups have done their own thing and no longer want to partner with LFM. Some Coach Dave setups are good, but I find that they're usually too safe. They're not like esports setups. I prefer like a setup from Popometer or Hymo or somewhere like that, where it's like actually difficult to drive like an esports setup should be. Oh, come on. Really? Apart from that last lap, that was a good stint. Is that really a track limit? But might. Oh, it does. I think it just that front tire. Does it? No. I'm sure that front tire, the rear definitely stays on the white line. Oh, that must, this frame here, that one frame, I wonder if that's what counted it as an off track. Yeah, Tortellini is really good as well. Nils is just good if you, good for like super in depth. But if you want it just a bit quicker, then Tortellini is really good. Man, 3 laps in a row separated by a 10th, and then I mess up. Right. Yes, he has been in Porsche for like since that game came out. Oops. Right. Let's increase the right height to back when I did that PB, because that was a fantastic stint. That was really, really good. 238.8.9 low. That was a really nice stint. 3 laps separated by less than a 10th. Then I messed up this lap and then invalidated the one after. So let's go back and try and see if we can improve this setup, because that was a really good run, but we're still 3/10 off the potential we did with the previous setup. So even though this looks good, like the setup's improved because I've done my PB with it, I did my potential PB with that setup. So let's go back to the previous one. Yeah, the UI, I think the UI is getting updated in a soon. What I want to try is this caster. I'm going to try like 12.5 of caster from 11.8. Can't increase the camber, can I? Oh wait, I can't. Wait, it said 4.2, now it says 4.0. Eh? It increased my... cancel. Right, let's go back to this. That's what I wanted it. Let's increase the caster. 2.5. It's weird, sometimes it feels... It was in the patch note for the last update, so I would hope it is within the next season, but I don't know, honestly. Right, let's try increasing the caster. I want to see how that works. Oops. Right. Let's try this then. Yeah, it's good. Learn some techniques with a safer car and then switch to the Porsche. I'm gonna hope that oversteer was cold tires and not just the setup adjustment I just did. If that's what happens with a really high caster, I'll just go back on it, because I don't want that level of oversteer. The whole point of the higher aero was that I can get on the power nice and early out of that corner. What I want to see is if the caster helps me on the high speed or if it's only going to give me oversteer on the low speed. So I'll just do a couple of laps with it to see what it's like. Yeah, so did I, but it's actually just giving me a lot of oversteer on the exit. But that could just be my driving. I could just be driving it wrong. Maybe need to adjust my driving with a higher caster and I'm doing it incorrectly. Wait, yeah, the caster reading backwards, you're right. Higher caster is more oversteer. Less caster is more understeery and safer. So I've tried to give it more rotation, but I want to see if I've possibly given it too much. Because this will give me rotation without affecting like the straight line speed. Let's see what this does. I just want to make sure it's not oversteering. The issue is with this being a 5-lap stint in nearly 50 degrees, the tires overheat, so it's very difficult not to overuse the tires over the course of the stint. Right, let's do a couple of laps. I'm not convinced this is going to work, but let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and see. Oh, that was my driver error there. I was too far over the curb on the left side on the entry to the corner, and it bottomed out when I turned in. I'm just going to change this back because I don't like how it feels already. I've done so many setups that I can usually tell just by the outlap if I like what it changes to. I don't want to reduce the camber because the caster, sorry. Because that will give me understeer, and I'm trying to get more rotation. Let's try a softer real roll bar, but with a stiffer spring. Let's try this. This might not work and it might be a complete waste of time, but I want to try it. I remember doing this a few times on some other setups, and it usually works quite well. Because the spring gives you the rotation, but the lower roll bar gives you a bit more stability. But we'll see if this works. It might not. Not done a setup for an F4 car before, so I'm not sure. Setups are so ridiculously complicated. If you can learn to just adapt a setup to your driving, that's the best. Get a good setup base and then you just make a few adjustments to suit your driving. I've spent like an entire week on some setups I remember one Barcelona setup I made for the Porsche. I had to get the tires the last 2 hours, and I think I spent like 2 weeks making this setup, and I'd have to do like 10 lap stints to see how it affected the tire wear, and I had to get my teammate Luciano to do a bunch of laps as well. That took ages to make that setup. Yes, it is completely wrong in most simulators. I think this is actually making the rear more unstable on power, but perhaps better in the corners, I'm not sure. Yeah, I usually, for iRacing, ask someone that knows what they're doing. On ACC I'm pretty good with setups, but not on iRacing. Death. Too much angle. Let's put this back to what it was. What I want to try now is lower the rear rate. Yeah. It might have just been my driving, I don't know. Let's try this, and failed. 3, lower, back to the original, apply, lower again to try a lower, push rod offset, one. And let's try this. Yeah, it just seemed to oversteer a lot. So what I've gone is back to the original roll bar, back to the original springs, and then lowered the original springs. And let's see what difference that makes. If I soften the rear, I may get understeer, but I should have more stability on the acceleration with a softer rear spring. Nordschleifer is an amazing truck. very difficult, especially for like a 24-hour race, but it is an amazing track. No, I've just got a VRS set up at the moment, but I'm going to do a setup session tomorrow and really work on improving the setup. This is just a few adjustments that I'm trying to make. Yes, it's very, very easy to invalidate on ACC. I share your pain. I've had many invalid laps on Lord Cypher. Oh, the lockup. Just flat spot the tyre. Let's go back to V1 and put that to 19. That's 28. Save this as V2. Yeah, it's really, it's actually quite difficult to get a valid lap on Norwich Cypher. So this is what I did my potential best lap in. And honestly, what I think I might do is just leave it like that and just drive it, and then tomorrow I'll try and do a setup session to improve it. Depends on the car and track combo and how much I practice, to be honest. Like, I've done some really consistent stints, but I've also binned it on turn 2 in Porsche Cup during the iRacing Nürburgring 24 hours all by myself. So it does depend. On ACC, I'm not particularly fast on it at all. I've only done one 24-hour race, which went fairly well, but the pace was not there. But I had never driven Norwich Cypher before then. I think I'd done some fun races on it on Forza, but that was like a few years before. So, yeah. But without practice, I really like Norwich Cypher. Yeah, on ACC, I don't know why, but I do agree, it does feel narrow. Like, it's very satisfying watching someone on the limit, but it's like so sketchy if you get it wrong. That was perfect timing. You just about lost it as I said. It's so sketchy when you get it wrong. Yeah, it's very easy to get it wrong whilst you're hot lapping, especially. I don't know why they like iRacing feels wider than ACC. I don't know, but I do know one thing, and maybe this is why, is that iRacing shows the elevation change so much better than ACC. That is, I do think the graphics on ACC are far superior, to iRacing graphics, but the track elevation changes on iRacing are so much better. Now you've got 30 minutes, so I'm just going to try and not make any more setup changes and just hot lap for the final 30 minutes of this lobby. And then we'll go into yeah, depending on your settings, Rensport I would say looks very good, and so does ACC, but it depends on your settings as to which looks best. Like on my PC, I found that Rensport looked better, but that was on default. On Max, I think ACC does look better. But like if you watch the esport driver streams, like James Baldwin, all the graphics are turned super low. And I do the same. I've turned up all my graphics just really low because FPS is more important than the graphics when you're trying to do an esports hot lap. But if you're just trying to do like get some pictures and stuff for like a graphic or something, then definitely turn up all the graphic settings to max. It looks really nice. Just try and not kill your PC. Yeah, the ESL streams do look quite good. It looks so good when you watch those streams and then you try the game and it's like, well, what is this? I think they've improved it now from what I've been told. But like when I tried it, you couldn't do an online race because when you started it gave you a drive-through for jumping the start even though you hadn't moved, and then when you served your drive-through penalty for jumping the start, it would give you a penalty for speeding in the pit lane even though you hadn't sped in the pit lane. And it was just like, what is this? So I just turned it off. But I've been told it's been improved quite a bit, which is good. Oh dear. Did not mean to use that exit curve. Yeah, the sound is quite good on Rensport. I've not tried it enough to comment on the force feedback, because when I tried it the force feedback wasn't great, but I've not tried it since the update, so I can't really comment on how good the force feedback is, but I do remember the sound being quite good. That was not ideal, bit of oversteer there. Now I'm going to change this to the session best lap. Because the session optimum lap is good, but it would be better to see if I'm actually going to improve on my current best lap than just be looking at the optimal. I shouldn't have gone to 5th gear there, that was an ACC habit kicking in. Hello MP214512, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in, hope you're doing well. Yeah, like I say, I've been told the force feedback's really good, but I just haven't tried it since the update. It is indeed Silverstone, we're driving the F4 car. The goal is to get a 5-lap stint as quick as possible, basically. It's a hot stint challenge, so it's 5 consecutive laps, all as quick as possible. That was really nice. I was like, where did that time come from? And then I forgot I've changed it from a session optimum lap to the session best lap for the Delta. Nice. What race did you do? Oh, Fanatec GT3 at Daytona, nice. Extremely popular. I've seen some of the strengths of fields almost at 5k. Very popular week for the GT3s. To be fair, Daytona 24 Hour is like the biggest event on iRacing.